Green screen. Are you working? I do not know why this is not working anymore. What is happening over here? It's not working. And I don't get that. I think I might have to go in here and do some other stuff. Okay. Let me make a note of that. All right, good morning. Go ahead and do 3 emotionally regulating breaths. I'm going to count you in a descending manner of 3, 2, 1. And then you will inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale. Let's get this neuro party started. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, Denise. All right, let's explain how this process works so everyone knows what we do over here or what takes place. Number 1, the first level is Instagram, and that's a free 7-day trial for you to test out the 60-second neuro reps. After successful completion of 7 consecutive days, you will receive an invite from me to level up to level 2, which is 30 days of 60-second neuro reps. That is a paid subscription, and you stay there for 30 consecutive days. Once you have completed that successfully, you will receive an invite from me to level up to level 3, which takes place here on YouTube. And that is 90 consecutive days of neuro reps. They are extended past 60 seconds. After 90 successful days of completion, you will receive a level 4 invite from me, where you will spend 180 consecutive days inculcating the principles of real leadership and conducting advanced neuro reps. Once you have successfully completed 180 consecutive days, you will then receive the ultimate invite to level 5, where you will have demonstrated going from a survival brain to an excellent brain. And now you will have, at that point, you will have the opportunity to participate in 2 different capacities or functions of real leadership: RL programs, RL 365, RL Advanced, RL Beyond, all 365 consecutive days, or Real Leader Resources. So if you find that you want to work on a special project, then you choose the Real Leader Resource track. Good morning, California Street Rock Trucking. Now, let me come back on camera. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Dr. Donna Louise Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Good morning, Daisy. And what we will be discussing today, as I believe, is the closeout for the ACC. So let me go ahead and flip this around so you can see it. So we are talking about the principle of real leadership, embrace change today, and it is to create neutral. As we found out this week, most people, 5.9 billion adults, have a low emotional baseline in the sgACC, which is the subgenual ACC. We also discussed what the actual function of the ACC is. So I just want to bring it all together so that we are on one accord, as they used to say in the Baptist church. Emotional meaning is the vACC, that's the ventral ACC. The sgACC, the subgenual ACC, is the baseline tone of your emotional center. So it might not be that you that you are dysregulated to the point where you are unhinged, but you have this tolerance for dysregulated family members. You have this low tolerance, this nice little hum as your emotional environment neurologically. Then you have the cACC, which is the cognitive ACC, and that's the problem solver. This is conflict. Let me resolve this conflict. And then the dACC, the dorsal ACC, is the error detector. So it says what, and it says where, and then the cACC says what. So we're going to put it all together so that you understand how your ACC functions, so that now we know that it's not just happening in the limbic system with the left and right amygdala, but it's also taking place in the ACC. And that's why I teach the whole brain, and we're learning how the whole brain functions so that you can go from survival, which is what the brain is wired for, to excellence. Let me come back. My lives are sponsored by water. This is a mental workout. So throughout the life, hopefully I remember, thank you, perimenopause. But I'm going to say, drink water. And then you are going to reply with drink water. And then you are going to drink water. So let's get our first drink water out of the way today. Drink water. Okay. First thing I would like to say before we get into this process is I'm always having conversations with chat when I wake up in the morning in my default mode network. So I'll be brushing my teeth, a thought will show up, making my bed, or creating my snack for the day. Actually, my breakfast now. I have to eat my oatmeal sooner. And so this morning, I had a question for chat because I said there has to be a difference, because yes, the brain is wired for survival. We know that. Survival and comfort, shortcuts. But there are people who are successful. So how can that be that they are successful? Because they're wired for more than just survival, but it's not excellence. And so here is success is sitting right in the middle. So if you deem yourself to be successful, yet you still have this low baseline of emotion in your sgACC, here is what is taking place. So you decided, yeah, I don't want to be poor. I want to be successful. I want to have a big house. I want to have a big car. I want to have a title. I want to have any of these things. Okay, cool. And if you're on TikTok, you heard this is your second time, so you can really have it cemented in your brain. And so you went to college, you started a business, you partnered with somebody, you're doing great things in the community, you got a nonprofit, you're a successful surgeon, teacher, doctor, candlestick maker, whatever, and now you have success. And how do you know you have success? Because you got stuff. You got certificates on the wall. You got a nice house and a car and a good credit score. And you go on vacation and all of that. So you don't think it's nothing wrong with you. But it is. No, Dr. Donna, I got $1 million. Dr. Donna, I got an 812 credit score. I've been married for 27 years and we put 3 kids through college and they all got degrees and we about to be expecting our first grandkid. Don't matter. You said, what, Doc? Don't matter. Because you still got a low emotional baseline. No, I don't. I got 3 cars in the driveway. You still got a low emotional baseline. No, I don't. I have a great relationship with my siblings and we only argue a couple times a month. You have a low emotional baseline because you are not at neutral. Good morning, Jared. You're not at neutral. No, that's not true. Okay. You ever found yourself saying marriage is hard? Marriage is work. Raising adult kids is hard. You ever said, ooh, we got to go over to my mother-in-law's house. We got to go talk to my mother. I like 2 out of my 4 siblings. You go to work and you find out that employee that you don't like is back on vacation. You go, you got a supervisor that some days you wish you could just, yeah. That's a low emotional baseline because you have accepted all of those things as, wait for it, normal. That's just part of life. Why? Why? Why is marriage hard? Why does marriage have to be hard? If you have 2 people that have high functioning brains and they're operating at neutral, how is marriage hard? If both people are using their 86 billion neurons and the 74 principles of real leadership, if a conflict shows up, you both say, oh, we have to handle conflict when it occurs. We're having conflict. Let's sit down. Let's listen and let's ask questions and let's treat each other with dignity and respect and resolve this conflict, collaborate and strive for win-win. How is that hard? My amazing adult daughter, now I live in a household for the first time in my life with an actual high functioning adult. And it's a beautiful thing because now she knows how to cook. We both do the landscaping. We both can clean the house. We both can do laundry. We both can go to the grocery store. All these things that are segmentized in other houses with adults can be done by either person. It's not, and the reason why one person does laundry is because the brain is looking for shortcuts. So that person says, I do the laundry, but I don't do the landscaping. I do the landscaping, but I don't do the cooking. And so then what happens is people get overtasked in the task that they've been assigned and undertasked in the other task. So now the person who does the cooking gets sick. Now everybody going to talk to the person, hey, we want to make you some food, and we know you're sick, but how we make you some food? Then the person who cuts the grass, shovels the snows, and rakes the leaves has to go traveling for 2 weeks. And now the leaves didn't fail, the grass need to be cut, or the snow came down, and now everybody's like, shit, I don't know how to use the snow blower. I don't. Do you put gas in it or oil? Where is it? How do you get started? So when everybody, and I had to learn how to do this as an MP in the Army, everybody had to be trained on a Mark 19. Everybody had to be trained on all the weapon systems that were assigned to that vehicle, because in the event, you got to go make some shit happen, and somebody ain't make it. You got to keep them and do what you need to do. So everybody needed to be trained on every weapon system that was assigned to that team. We worked in 3 to 4 person teams, and then squads and then platoons. Or their leg breaks, exactly. Or they say, fuck y'all, and they leave. I ain't doing this no more. That's how you know, doesn't matter how successful you are, you got low emotional baselines. You have it because you have this tolerance for dysregulation. This tolerance for, that's just the way it is. Kids gonna be kids. Where marriage goes through stages and all. You have all this language wrapped around normal. But neutral is normal. Nola and I both left the appointment. We both were hungry and we were hangry, and we heard the tone. And so instead of going to the restaurant closer to our house, Rubio, she said, no, let's go to the one on Rainbow because we're snapping at each other. So we need to eat first. We don't need to go to the one all the way by the house. That one is halfway. Let's get to that one. Ate and we were fine. That's neutral. That's coming from a 23-year-old without their fully developed frontal lobe. After working for 5 hours straight, putting things together, even no pee break, with a little snack here and there. So that's what happens when you're at neutral. So success hides a low emotional base because you get to wake up every day and say, but we got a 401k. Y'all still argued all the way last night and you kicked him while he was asleep. So you was mad. You then snatched all the covers. And you went and took something that they like and threw it in the trash. And they woke up the next morning like, I thought I had some coffee. Yeah, I thought you did too. No, you didn't do that. You sneaking in the house with Amazon packages. You having that shit delivered at work. And then bringing it home slowly in your work bag so they won't know you got it, hiding it in the closet. That's not high functioning. That's not neutral. That's not. His mama called and said, hey, can I talk to my baby? You said he sleep. And he was woke. And you just didn't feel like hearing. You knew his mom about to ask y'all for some money. He sleep, Brenda. He sleep, Miss Geraldine. Yeah, I tell him to call you when he wakes up. He went to the bathroom to pee. No, I'm talking to myself right now. So success is in the middle of that. It's in the middle of that. It's in the middle. Yes, it's in the middle. And that's why you can't get the excellence, because you're confusing success with excellence. But excellence is high functioning. Excellence means that you are the best in everything that you do all the time, every day. And that takes neural clarity. That takes neural strength. That takes new neural pathways to get it done. So that's why the successful people are confused. And I've told them that. People say stuff to me on lives. I'm like, that ain't shit. That ain't shit. Well, I got my degree 20 years ago. And what you been doing for these last 20 years, these thousands and thousands and thousands of days? What have you been doing with this 6,000 days since you got your degree? Since you so successful? What you been doing? Nothing. Every time somebody say that, show me your spouse. Show me your personal relationships, and I'm going to show you how disbalanced, unbalanced you actually are. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you where all the Swiss cheese holes are in your life. And it's simple to do. I don't want to be broke. I'm going to be successful. And then I'm just going to explain everything else away and just say, focus on my success. Focus on this new couch that I bought. Focus on all of this, but don't focus on the real issues. Everybody needs to get to neutral. So in my talking to chat this morning after my default moment, I then said, is there a level of the sgACC past neutral? And chat said no, because I was 87% sure. I was like, no, if you go past neutral, it's going to be something wrong. And there is. So neutral is actually the goal, and that's what we're talking about today. And the reason why is if you go above neutral, you're going to have the opposite effect. And so now you're going to be so successful that you're going to be stressing out because you got to get this promotion, you got to get this, you got to get this. But neutral, and watch this. My dissertation was on Robert Northhouse path goal theory that says it's situational leadership in order to create high performance leaders and high performance teams. And now I'm saying high functioning adults. Still 20 something years later, well, 20 years later, because it started the research in 2006, I'm still saying it's situationally dependent. And so you have to stay neutral because you need to be able to base your actions on what you need to do. So a neutral emotional baseline will allow you to be happy if you need to be sad if you need to be, check a motherfucker if you need to, be angry and come back. It's neutral is the balance for the ACC. Neutral. So you can do what you need to do based upon the situation that you find yourself in. So at neutral, you don't say marriage is hard. Ooh, adult children. Can't crack the code on that. You know, you can't tell grown folks what to do. Anybody ever said that about your adult kids? They just won't listen. Why not? Listen is 2 of the 74 principles of real leadership. Is it that they won't listen? And what I've told parents too is you're not listening to them, and so they're not listening to you. Listening is a two-way street. So if you find yourself making excuses for behavior instead of correcting that behavior for yourself and other people, because hold yourself and others personally accountable is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, that's the problem. And neutral, as we found out yesterday, feels negative. You got to have something going on. Why? Why you got to have something going on? The brain don't like that. The brain wants predictability. And if the brain can predict that you're going to be neutral, that's giving the brain what it's asking for, neutrality. But neutral requires neuro effort. You got to get from low to neutral. That's the challenge. So that means you got to encode new somatic markers. That means that it will recode. And then you have to create new neural pathways and prune old neural pathways. It's not a dopamine detox because you still need dopamine. You actually get, watch this, Bally, the feminist. I fucked that all up. I apologize. You get a natural release of dopamine when you actually wire your brain correctly. Every day that you do a Neuro Rep, there's this natural release. And natural release of dopamine feels different than manufactured dopamine. It's like the difference between eating a red velvet cupcake and a Lucy Glow apple. Bailey. Okay. Oh, Bailey, the feminist. The bi-feminist. I think that's what it is. Okay. Hopefully this time I did a better job. At any rate, so you want a natural release of dopamine in your own reward loop, your nucleus accumbens, because now you're responsible for the actions that you take. And when you do enough Neuro Reps, it becomes a habit in the basal ganglia to the point where the basal ganglia is like, hey, did we do our Neuro Rep today? I like that. And then there's just this pleasant little nice dopamine. And that's all you need. It's not like dopamine. Ah, let's get it set. And so what happens is Amy and Lala like, where the excitement at? Where the excitement at? What you mean neutral? No, neutral is boring. No, it's not. Neutral is good. Neutral creates the cortisol doesn't go in the prefrontal cortex when you're neutral. It's like cool as the other side of the pillow. It's this very calm existence. So that when you want to go have fun, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, you can. And then you can come back to base. Neutral. So you are going to embrace change, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and create neutral. So for the people who believe that because you are successful, you don't have a low emotional base, you do. Because you don't know how your ACC functions. So it just, if you ever said that's just the way it is, what sometimes she just be tripping. We just accept it. That's just how she. No. It's unacceptable because there are 86 billion neurons in everybody's brain. 5.9 billion adults not using their neurons. So you just say, that's just how we just gonna take the best of the worst. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Set and maintain high standards is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And go above and beyond, go for the goal, be the best. All of those are there so that you can get the neutral, and excellence is the objective. Your brain is hardwired for survival. Some people get to success. A small, rare group gets to excellence. Everybody has the ability neurologically to get to excellence, though, when you do the neurological work every day. So today's principle is embrace change. Change is not threat. And in an untrained brain, as we talked about on TikTok, it feels like a threat, but it's actually not. Change is data, and neutral is power. When you can be neutral, when you can be a thermostat and not a thermometer in every situation, you are going to leave every situation with an optimal result for yourself. I'm not saying you're never going to get angry again. That's not what I'm saying, but you're going to recover faster. You're going to say, oh, I'm mad. All right. Damn, I cussed him out. I apologize. And you're going to be able to recover. You're not going to be ruminating on it for 15 years because you know where neutral is. You know what neutral feels like. And the more you strengthen your prefrontal cortex, the more you train your brain, the more accustomed you become to neutral so that it is implicit. That is your default, neutral. So what is the ACC? This is simple and precise. The anterior cingulate cortex is your brain's conflict monitor and adjustment system. So it asks, something feels off. What do we do? The gut brain is sending 400 messages to the head brain every day, one-way communication. What's taking place? The insulin ACC. What's happening here? Is this a mistake? Is this safe? This lady with this brain t-shirt, and she say, I don't know about this. Do we need to shift? For those of you who have been around for a couple months, you know I will shift. This ain't working, shift. This works better, shift. Because excellence is the objective. So when regulated, the ACC updates. The ACC updates when you're regulated. And when you're dysregulated, it sends alarms. No! She's saying learn about the brain. Leave, scroll up, go away. This sounds hard. This sounds like effort. If I say, yeah, fucking alpha males, fuck them motherfucking bitches. We over here doing shit. We boss bitches over here. We gonna show them who it is. You're like, yeah, let's charge up the hill. Take them down, Dr. Donna. And then I say, okay, so in order to do that, you're going to have to do 7 days of Neuro Reps, 37 days on Instagram, 180 days at level 3. And I start saying all that. Whoa. I thought you said we was taking down the alpha males. We are. We are going to take them down in 307 days. No. Let's just storm their podcast. No. That's not how you do it. You don't have the neurological strength to be strategic. The Art of War is my favorite book. Attack by stratagem. Y'all got to get y'all brain right before we go start taking them down or showing these motherfuckers. You can't do that. You got a dysregulated, untrained brain. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. Bailey said it. Manufactured dopamine. Nope. Got to train that brain. Takes 10 years to become a sous chef. You look at Danielson, Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. That took time. So here is the breakdown of the ACC. 3 areas, the V, the C, and the D work together, but the vACC, the sgACC, and then the cACC and dACC are together. Remember, regulated brain updates uses the ACC for updates. So if you think about your phone, you think about your computer, you got to update. The apps on all of these devices have to be updated. When last time you updated your ACC? Dysregulated? No, software update. Imagine if every time your phone or your computer or your tablet says software update, you threw it. Say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Apps don't work properly if you don't update them enough. You try to go in and do something that's like, no, why is it malfunctioning? Because it need an update. Why is your brain malfunctioning? Why is your ACC reading real shit as an alarm? Because your brain needs an update. New outfit, old mindset, you updated the wrong shit. The other day, we went to Smith's. We saw old head, had to be a boomer. He had on a giant ass red t-shirt, the biggest red t-shirt I've ever seen in my life. with some of them capri shorts, plaid capri shorts. Everything was hanging down to his ankles. He had on some red sneakers with a red hat and 3 chains with boom, boom, boom. And he was struggling to walk to his car. But he was on trend for an old head. I'm like, I remember when he had that original outfit on 50 years ago. And he went and found the updated version. I don't even know. He might have had somebody make that for him. But he over there struggling with his readers on in that new outfit, bright ass, everything, struggling to get to the handicap parking space. That's what he doing. Wrong shit. New outfit, old mindset. You updated the wrong shit. That's what's happening. But you can always update. So the ventral ACC, what it does, it checks for social fairness, belonging, and emotional tone. Social conformity theory. That's why you're stuck in all these relationships that you don't want to be in. I'm staying updated to keep from going back to default mode, right? Lazy J is out of the way. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Not at all. That season is over for me. He looking for a CNA. No. I'm not helping nobody take their meds. I don't even have no meds. So that's a no for me. It's a no for me. Okay. So here's what happens with the ACC. You got your socialness. We're going to all stay together because we family. So family sticks together. You got some stins. That's some stuck-ass friends. You stuck at your job and everywhere. So you can make sure that you're part of a social group. You got to belong. We belong together. And then it's this emotional tone. Sometimes friends argue. Sometimes you don't talk. I don't talk to people for 6 months, but then we just get back together and start talking again. All of that nice little low level of emotional tone. So here's what happens. Here's a scenario. You send this message to someone, they don't respond. Your brain automatically says, they're ignoring me. You don't even know that. That's mythologizing too. You don't have factually based information, so you just start creating narratives. So they're ignoring me. I texted them 2 hours ago, and they're ignoring me. Why don't they respond to my email? They know I called them. They see that missed call on their phone, and they just not calling me back. So the vACC assigns meaning to that in 2 different brains. Text, don't get called back, mythologizing. So in a dysregulated ACC, vACC, it takes everything personally. Do we know anybody that takes everything personally? Everything is personal. Sees rejection everywhere. And see, that's the problem. And they always trying to keep down. Every time I try to go over there, they trying to tell me this. And everywhere they're being rejected. And they are emotional overinterpretation. Everything is, and y'all might call them drama queens. There he extra. Here come his extra ass. There, fuck. Who against you now, Gerald? Who against you now? I actually don't know any Black people. I do know a lot of African Americans. I do know some Nigerians and some Haitians, but I don't actually know any Black people. Who are Black people? Oh, here we go. My bowl is black. So it's people that are colors. Where they are. Somebody's got some conformity bias and some confirmation bias and some social conformity theory. I struck a nerve. Listen here, lady, You were born in America. You're an American. Okay. Am I North American? Since we're getting a lesson in history. Yeah. History lesson. You as an American, you're a patriot. Am I? You done yet? Marjorie Reynolds, AA62. You finished? Being our lesson for today. So clearly, Marjorie Reynolds has a low emotional base and a lot of programming. This is an untrained brain, a dysregulated emotional center for the things that person has said. And Matt has identity protection going on and also social judgment theory, because we just discussed social judgment theory. And for those of you who are new here, you could go watch it, that your belief system is your belief system. And when someone presents information that's different than that, you resist that information and you stay with what you believe because you've assimilated to a belief system that was given to you by somebody else. So that is what Matt is experiencing if Matt is still here. Now, Matt won't be here for long because as soon as I finish saying my sentence, this channel will be unlisted for Matt. But Matt attempted to hijack my amygdala. That didn't work. So then Matt came back when I said African American, because Matt wasn't expecting that answer. Then Matt told me if I was born in America, I am an American. And that's why I said African American, because one is ethnicity and one is nation-based. So you put those two together. I'm from Africas, because of the international slave trade. I'm mixed with a lot of different Africans. And then America is where Levi Thomas met Goldie. And the rest, as they say, is history. So that's how I ended up here. So yes, I am American, North American, and African together. So that didn't work. That's why Matt left, because it didn't work. Right, we are throwing tomatoes. We are throwing tomatoes at Matt before he exits stage left. So when you, ladies and gentlemen, have a regulated brain, which you have just seen and witnessed, is someone that has a high functioning prefrontal cortex and a regulated emotional center and who is neutral in the sgACC. So as a result, Matt was unsuccessful in attempting to hijack my amygdala or throw me off my square or get me to say or do something to release dopamine for him to close his troll reward circuit. That didn't work this morning. And it won't work on any morning because I actually am high functioning. So if you need proof, that was proof for you. That's what happens when you study the brain, master the brain, teach others how to do the same. So the people in the world will forever be changed. Dysregulated brains don't disrupt regulated brains. They don't win. And even if I did get excitable, I would say, you know what? I got excitable. Let me get back to neutral very quickly. Quick recoverance. So that's why I let that situation, because I could have just, as soon as I read what he wrote, I could have unlisted him and that could have been the end of it. But I like to teach and use real world examples because we live in the real world. So I'm showing you under pressure what's possible when you start doing neuro reps and you strengthen your prefrontal cortex. That's what's possible, is you can become regulated when someone is attempting to dysregulate you, when someone is attempting to get a rise out of you. And because you'll have a strong prefrontal cortex, you literally will study more, you will learn more, and you will have knowledge readily available for you to use in instances such as this. Absolutely not. Brain supplements do not create new neural pathways. Brain supplements do not rewire the brain. They supplement what is already there. So if you ain't got shit there, it ain't got nothing to supplement. It is an add-on. It's like putting whipped cream on a banana split. If you just eat whipped cream, that's it. So the supplements need to supplement. They're adding to what's pre-existing. So you can take as much magnesium as you want. You can take as much cortisol, whatever they put in all of them. If it's not already there, it ain't doing, or if you exhausted it and you're replacing it. So, and I had this conversation with Shaq because I was like, fuck them supplements. Shaq said no. And there are people who don't have it, and so it's putting it there. But taking a bunch of supplements is not going to create new neural pathways in your brain. You have to challenge yourself to do that. You need new neurons from the dentate gyrus. That's how you're going to get smarter. I've read books for 11 years straight. Ain't enough supplements in the world for me to be reading a book a week and then doing a video for it and putting it on my YouTube channel. Ain't enough supplements. That's not going to make me go read. It's not like, oh, yes, I just took this brain booster and let me finish a boring ass book. That's not how that works. So it's only going to supplement what is actually there. Okay, so you have the ACC and it's emotionalizing or it's regulating. Now, the vACC is so we talked about that. So you send a message in the dysregulated brain. We had Matt coming to attempt to distract me, but he gave us, we called that hip pocket training when I was in the military. So he gave us a nice little bell work example, and I will move on. But hold up. Before I do that, let me make sure he can never return to this channel. All right. So he is vominos. Be gone. Dysregulated, untrained brain, Matt. So in a regulated brain, so we have the scenario, somebody texted, if you texted and they didn't respond back. No, nothing is a supplement. Okay. So I'm going to say this one more time and then I'm going to go because you're interrupting my ability to teach. And if you actually want to understand, then I will help you to a certain extent, but I'm not going to let you keep disrupting what I already had in play. Okay. Here's what I will tell you. I make a lot more sense when you do neuro reps. Everything that I'm saying works better when you're actually in the system that I created, which is to start on Instagram for 7-day neuro reps as a free trial. So all of this information that you have, you would like for me to confirm pre-existing information that you have. And I'm saying none of that is what I do. What I do is I teach adults how their brain functions so they can become high functioning adults. So your brain is wired for survival, not excellence. I teach you how to access that excellence on a daily basis. That's what I do through your own neural pathways. No supplements needed. So if you want to do that, and that sounds like something that interests you, feel free to go to Instagram and take the 7-day trial on a spin. And then you can make your own assessment of what's going to work best for you. You can self-select at that point. Okay, so with regards to sending a text message and no one responds, the dysregulated person is going to start mythologizing, doing all kind of crazy stuff, or emotional shit. The regulated vACC is going to use that plus embrace change, the principle of real leadership. And so it's going to tell itself, delay does not equal rejection. Because be objective is also one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So just because someone didn't respond in the time frame that you thought they should have responded in, you're not going to mythologize and put a bunch of excuses out there, reasons why, and think negatively. You're just going to say, this does not mean that the person is rejecting me. And you allow for multiple explanations if you need it. They could be asleep. They could be on a plane. They said they were not getting off the plane until 2. Maybe the plane was delayed, but what you don't go straight to is rejection. So when emotional meaning appears in that instance from the vACC, you can say this is one interpretation and not the only one. This creates neutrality. That's the objective. So when all that emotion shows up, you cool as the other side of the pillow. You count 1 1,000. 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000. Cortisol goes down, and now you can access your prefrontal cortex with neural clarity and say, I forgot they said they were taking a nap. They said they were getting on a plane. They said they were going into the dentist chair because they had dental work. My bad, I'll text you later. Now you have neural clarity. You don't have to emotionalize. But when you have that low emotional base, you're going to think everything but the right thing. because you are thinking with the limbic system instead of the prefrontal cortex. This is fire. All right, I got to go over, check out the replay. Adios. Have a safe day at work, Jared. Okay. So now the sgACC. That's the emotional baseline setter. That's where you're going to set the foundation. So it's the subgenual ACC. And what it does is it sets your resting emotional tone. Resting. So a low baseline, neutral feels negative because it's resting. It's boring over here. Why we gotta do that? Neutral feels bad. But neutral also feels like something is wrong. Dang, phone ain't ringing. Ain't nobody calling me. Let me go doom scroll on social media because I can't, it's too quiet. I need some excitement. I need some adventure. I need some. So here's the scenario. Nothing bad is happening, but you feel slightly heavy. Nothing ain't wrong. Nothing ain't wrong at all. Nothing. Still feeling heavy. So in a sgACC that has a low baseline, a dysregulated one, it feels uneasy. It's too calm. It's too quiet. Okay, let me go ahead and check. Let me check the bank. Nope, I got money. All right, let me go on social media. Ain't nothing happening on it. Fuck it. I know if I go on X, they're going to have something. Let me turn the news on. Let me do something. Let me get on the phone. Girl, what you doing? I knew it. I felt it. I knew something was wrong. I knew it. I knew it. I knew something was wrong. I knew it. I just knew something. See, that's what I'm saying. If it ain't one thing, it's another. And you confuse neutral with danger. Neutral means something is coming. It looked like twister weather. That looked like a rain cloud in the sky. See, I knew it. It's going to snow in July. Look at that. That's how you know you got a low emotional baseline. Nothing is wrong. So now you got to go find something wrong. Because you know something got to be wrong. We can't be neutral out here. No, there's no chance that nothing could be wrong. Ever? Shoot, it ain't been nothing wrong in 20 minutes. I know something got to go wrong. You can't go 30 minutes without something going wrong. Something always going to go wrong. Everything can't always be right. In a regulated sgACC, you add embrace change. So you train your brain to say, calm is safe and neutral is strength. You stop interpreting peace as a threat. Calm is safe and neutral is strength. Peace is actually not a threat at all. Let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm clicking out. I'm going to go to my clock. And we all just going to sit in silence, in peace, for a whole minute. And I'm going to tell you to start. So I'm not going to be a distraction for you. I'm going to flip off screen. So for a whole minute, you're just going to sit in peace. 3, 2, 1. All right. Be honest. How did that feel? and drink water. Good, is what Lacey Denise Lang Jen 822 said. Good. Anyone else? Calming. Peace. That's what Daisy said. So that's what neutral feels like. And I just decided in this moment that going forward, we're going to do 60 seconds of silence to strengthen the sgACC. Because you might not do it anywhere else, but if you're going to be here, you're going to get it done over here. Just randomly throughout the live. I'm going to start doing that. Because you need to know what neutral feels like. And you need to stop being afraid of peace as a threat or as danger. Because it is not. It is the furthest thing from it. And this is going to rewire your baseline. And feel free to do it yourself throughout your day if you remember. Just set your timer, close your eyes, and just sit there in peace. Just sit there in peace and tell yourself before you do it, I am increasing my baseline. I'm rewiring it from low to neutral. From low to neutral. That's the place you want to be, the happy place. So the central ACC, so again, the sgACC is setting that emotional tone. The vACC is causing all kind of emotional problems unless you have a regulated brain and you embrace change, then it's no problem whatsoever. The cACC is the cognitive problem solver, and what it does is it works through problems logically. Be objective is one of the 74 principles of real leadership on purpose so that you can work through your problems logically. So here's a scenario. You plan to go live at 8 o'clock p.m. At 7:58, the internet stops working. The internet stops working. So a dysregulated cACC panics, runs around the room like Charlie in the mailroom on Sunny in Philadelphia, starts catastrophizing. Everything is ruined. Every time I try to do something, here we go, all the time. I was trying to teach me about the brain, and here we go. A regulated cACC plus embrace change says, problem detected, let's adjust. So you create an alternative plan. No drama, no execution. So I've been live today 834 days. There has been one day when I almost wasn't able to go live. At 3 o'clock in the morning, the power went out. We received a notification, an email from NV Energy that says the power is out. We know it in your area, and we are working our best to go ahead and get the power back on. So the first thing I said was, okay, I got an hour. I got an hour before I go live for me to be able to go live. And the first thing I said was Starbucks isn't open at 4. So what around me that has an internet connection that I can get to in an hour and be able to get this done? Library is not open. So I thought casinos. Not a lot of people in our neighborhood casinos at this time of day. I can go get on their Wi-Fi and I can go sit in the corner and y'all just hear ding, 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 ding in the background. Especially if I go to the old folks ones, you just gonna hear some oxygen and some rollers, some walkers rolling past me. But then the power came back on. So this actually happened to me. It was like, I can't miss my streak of being live. So let me just go to the Suncoast and get on their Wi-Fi somewhere for that. That was going to be my plan. And it worked. And I had power because I wasn't going to be able to put the lights or anything on. So it was NV Energy. And it worked. Power came back on. I had the live. But panicking was not going to be something that I was going to do, because that was going to make it worse. So you start panicking, that cortisol comes to the prefrontal cortex, shuts down access to the executive function. That's logic, reasoning, problem solving. And now it is going to be no-brainer. So when problems appear, immediately list 2 alternative solutions. So in the event that something takes place, stop. 10 significant seconds of silence. Sit in silence for 60 seconds. You're going to count to 10. And you're going to say, oh, let me set my timer because I need to get back to neutral. You're going to sit there for a minute. One more minute is going to make a difference. Sit there in peace, calm all the way down, and then seek 2 alternative solutions. Now you got 2 solutions, a why and 2 solutions. That's going to bode better. That's going to bode better than panicking for 20 minutes. So this strengthens your high functioning cognition because you calm Amy and Lala down. Uncle Vinny says, hey, Amy and Lala, sit down. Now, Miss Darlene can think straight. And she can say, okay, here, this is what we're getting ready to do. This is how we're going to fix this current problem. Cortisol free. And then finally, you have the dACC, and that's the dorsal ACC. The cognitive and dorsal ACC operate together. That's why it's 3 ACCs and technically not 4. So what it does is it detects mistakes and performance gaps. So you miss your daily submission, and Jared is not on here, but he had that happen about 7 days ago. And so the first thing that happens in a dysregulated ACC, dACC, is shame. He said, I blew it on the live the next morning. So then you spiral. Then you have an identity attack. I'm a fuck up. I'm always messing shit up. I can't get shit right. This is the fucking problem with me. You start self-attacking yourself. You got all these negative things to say about yourself. That's what a dysregulated dACC does. I made a mistake equals I'm a fuck up. You start mythologizing about how bad of a fuck up you actually are. But in a regulated dorsal ACC, plus the principle of embrace change, you say that's data, not identity. And so what did I tell Jared? Erase that. Take that out of the chat. You simply missed the deadline. That's all that took place. And because you held yourself personally accountable, you still submitted all your information. And you back here today apologizing for something that you did that was wrong. So update your narrative to, I missed the deadline, but I am not Lazy J, because he got 20 books that he didn't read. He's speaking Spanish. He in Toastmasters. He's going back to school in the fall. So he has all this data, all these actual neurological receipts of the things that says that he's not Lazy J anymore. He is Jay the Finisher. That's what's taking place. You have absolutely no idea how this is freeing my mind right now. Tears of joy. My pleasure, Lacey Denise Lang Jen 822. That's awesome. And so you simply say, this is data, and this is not attached to my identity, but you got to get that 10 significant seconds of silence. You got to sit in peace to get to neutralness, to calmness, so your actual brain that does the thinking and the problem solving can do what it actually does to say, you missed the deadline. It happens. Let's recover. So you correct the behavior and not call yourself a bumbling fucking idiot. You missed the deadline. Get the data and determine what the next steps are. So after a mistake, you simply say, what's the correction? How do I correct this mistake? Not, what the fuck is wrong with me? I can't get shit right. That's not going to help the situation. That's going to create more cortisol. That's going to create more problems. You basically just putting gasoline on a match. It was just a match. It was a mistake. Blow it out. What do I need to do to correct this minor mistake? That builds discipline neutralness. That's what happens when you do neuro reps every day. You actually have full cognition to say, oh, wait a minute, hold up, whoa, and you feel it. Your insulin starts, the body starts. Jared said his heart dropped, he couldn't sleep, and now he's sleeping like a baby because he just corrected a mistake. It was a missed deadline. So now you got all these biological things happening. You sweating, your heart beating, you're having panic attacks and everything else, and that's making the situation worse. And that happens when your brain is untrained and dysregulated and you have a low emotional baseline. That's why the neuro reps are so important, because you're strengthening the part of the brain that helps you function at a high excellence level on a day-to-day basis. And so here is the integration of the ACC and emotional neutrality. When all ACC subdivisions are registered, The ventral ACC has flexible interpretation. It doesn't say, I texted them, these motherfuckers ain't called me back, fuck them, I'm gonna block them. It says there's a logical reason why this person hasn't contacted me yet. The sgACC stays at a stable baseline. Neutral becomes the default. The cognitive ACC has logical adjustments. This is a problem. Let me decide 2 solutions to this problem. And sometimes you might need 3. And then the dorsal ACC has corrective execution. I made a mistake. Now let me go and rectify this mistake. You stop living when you do these things in real time, in real life. You stop living at this low emotional baseline of dysregulation. You operate from neutral up here. Neutral isn't numb. It's stable. It's stable. That's what everybody is wanting. That's why people go to therapy. Everybody's looking for stability, but you're in the wrong space. You've set a low emotional baseline for that tone of your emotions down here. And now you're attempting to solve it down here in a dysregulated, untrained brain. You got to train your brain. You got to wire it for excellence. It's wired for survival. That's why I keep scratching and surviving. It's down here. And that's why sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, because you don't have neural stability in your sgACC and you don't have a regulated, trained brain. So you could be doing good for 6 months, especially people in treatment. I was doing good, and then somebody said some dumb shit to me and I relapsed. I went on a bender. Why? Because the emotional baseline was too low. It wasn't set to neutral, because neutral, the calmness of it makes it feel negative. Well, I need something exciting to happen. Nobody said it can't be exciting at neutral. You can excite and come back down. I want to have fun. Go have fun. That's one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and then come back to neutral. So you're not coming back to neutral. You're coming back to low. And you got this manufactured dopamine between neutral and low. And that's where you're sitting. So you never get, as soon as you get to neutral, you go call somebody and say, hey, what's up with you? I knew you was having a problem. I felt it in my spirit. You went to go look for a problem because you actually down here. It got too quiet, so you went to go look for some noise so you could get back to this neurotoxicity. All these toxic fumes that you smelling fresh air, like, something wrong with this air. Why you can smell the flowers? No. I got to go back to this toxicity. I got to go back to this low emotional level. I ain't cuss nobody out in 3 hours. Let me call my kids so I can yell at them. No. Neutral is not negative. Neutral is where the magic starts to happen because you're peaceful. But we are hardwired for negativity bias. We're hardwired for survival and comfort. And we are hardwired for dysregulation. So when none of that exists, you feel like you're missing a limb or something. You're like, what's going on? Why is it so quiet? Like how you think straight. That's how you actually think straight. You think straight because you got neural clarity, because there is no cortisol and manufactured dopamine and all these other, but you need some endorphins. Yeah, you do, but you're misusing all of that. You're misusing all of that. You can't think your way out of a wet paper bag because it is low emotional baseline. So neutral. You don't want to go above it because then that's going to create a new level of stress. But you just want to sit here in neutral. And then if anybody's drove a stick shift before, you start in neutral. And then you go in reverse. You go first gear, second gear. You got to go forward, go back. But neutral is going to keep you where you need to be before you decide where you're about to go. Neutral. You going in the car wash, put your car in neutral so it can go forward. You put it in drive, you ain't going nowhere. You're going to drive through it. Put it in reverse, you're going to back up and hit somebody behind you. Neutral is where the magic starts to happen in your brain. So before we go to the brain bit for today, how y'all feel about what I said? We know how Lacey feels. How does what I said make you feel? And over here, you type a dot, an ellipse, a brain, or thinking emoji before you respond, because you're training the brain to respond, not react. You're training the brain to respond, not react. Training the brain to respond, not react. My bad, I thought I got rid of you. There we go. How do you feel? ... emojis, ellipses, thinking brain. How do you feel about what I just said? And if you're watching this on the replay, how do you feel with this new information? I'll change my graphic while y'all doing that. I didn't mean to do that. No thinking. Denise is thinking. It's good for it to be cleared up. And that was going to be my question to you. Thank you, Nola. So now all four of them should be clearer to you. And again, we will be inculcating this into our daily lessons so that you can understand it more, just like we introduced Amy and Lala and Miss Darlene and all the rest of them. You feel somewhat a little better. Okay. Emma Leonard. Lacey is brain. Okay, 5 brains. Roger that. And drink water again. Once Daisy and Nola respond, not Nola, Daisy and Denise respond, then I will do the brain bit, ask the 2 questions, and we will get on out of here. You're new to this. Okay, welcome. Daisy said, I'm just beginning to understand how the ACCs work. Yes. And I will continue, like I said, when it's appropriate for what we're talking about, I will begin to use them in the language so that they will become part of your day-to-day as well. This is the missing piece to get to peace. Yes, I like that, Lacey. It is the missing piece to get to peace. Yes, ma'am. That's awesome. And then Denise. And on the TikTok live, people said America is over therapized now. So therapy is not even working anymore. And it is because of this. Because the therapists focus on depression in the sgACC. And you're attempting to get it to a normal level. But we've normalized a low emotional base as normal. So neutral isn't even on the menu or even in the thought process. And how do you get there? And how do you maintain your neutralness inside of day-to-day life? That's why things, even if you're in therapy, it works. And then someone hijacks your amygdala and all that therapy goes out the window because you don't feel it. And it's implicit. So you can't say, hey, if you haven't strengthened your executive function and your inhibition control, then it ain't gonna work when you need it to work. That's why in real time, in real life, under pressure is when all that has to work, because you're gonna go to default under pressure. Denise said, let me make that a highlight. That was good. Denise said, wait 1 second, Denise. Okay. I feel like I understand the negative emotional baseline versus the neutral and how you get there. Was actually, Denise, is just a low. So retype that so your brain codes it correctly. It's a low emotional baseline in the sgACC. And your objective is to get it to neutral. Get your sgACC to neutral, because that's where the emotional tone is. So it's a low emotional baseline in the sgACC. And you want to get to neutral, not negative. It feels negative, but you just encoded negative things in it. But it in and of itself is not negative in nature. It's what you encoded it to be. Okay, Lacey said, wow. Daisy said, is knowing how the ACC function helps to dismantle the survival mode. I'm saying yes currently, Daisy. I'm still doing research behind, but it is because the survival is based upon the natural wiring of the brain. So the survival is saying be because you can go, I would say no, because you can be successful and not be in survival mode and still have a low emotional base, a tone to your emotions. So successful people are not surviving, they're thriving. They get millions of dollars, billions of dollars, titles, cars, and everything else. So they are successful, but in their sgACC, the tone is still low. That's why it's confusing to successful people. I'm so successful, why my kids ain't shit? Because of that low tone. And then they accept it. Kids just gonna be kids. Spouses gonna be spouses. There will be sibling rivalry. So it's all these narratives that you say to yourself, and that keeps your emotional baseline low. But from a neutral place, you start making better decisions because you're neutral. So let me know if I clear that up for you, Daisy. And Emma said, I have a high level of anxiety. Okay, Emma, reframe that so that's because your brain can reframe things. So I'm going to say this and then you can put it in your own words. Reframe that to say, I need to focus on becoming neutral in my sgACC. So that flips it. Because if you keep saying I have a high level of emotion anxiety, that's right there at that low baseline. That's something that you've come to accept. But in reframing and rewiring it, I'm focused on making my sgACC neutral or becoming neutral in my sgACC. Thank you for confirming that, Daisy. And then Denise said, I felt like I understood the low emotional baseline and getting the sgACC to get me to neutral. And how did that make you feel, Denise? Because your brain should have registered it differently because you took the word negative out. As we know, think positive is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So by taking the negative out, and I've said this before, to become regulated and now neutral, you don't need dysregulated and low emotional baselines. That's not the prerequisite to get to neutral and regulated. You came here that way. So you can just focus on neutral and positive and work from there in high functioning in an excellence capacity. Okay. Your insulin, you should have, the notification should have felt different when you retyped it, Denise. All right, so the neutral brain goes along with what we're saying with the neutral vACC. Saying low emotional baseline makes me feel more hopeful. Yes, ma'am. So use that going forward. A low emotional baseline in my sgACC. If you need to write it down so you can keep saying it. Screenshot your phone right now so you can see it. Saying low emotional baseline makes me feel more hopeful. It's just a low emotional baseline in your sgACC. Okay, so the neutral brain metaphorically. The neutral brain is not excited. It's not upset, and it's not proving anything. It's stable. And stable feels foreign. And I'm going to come back as the camera to say this. So because we live in such a dysregulated, negativity, bias-laden world, neutral and stable isn't a concept that we're even accustomed to experiencing. So stable feels unstable. Like, how you stable? What you doing? What drugs you taking? You drinking something? How you stable? That's unrealistic. How would you be stable? So the brain starts buffering. Don't believe me? Stable. Now, if I say someone was in a car accident and they're in stable condition, you go, whew, okay, they're going to be okay. They went from critical, they upgraded them from critical to stable. But that's where your emotional tone is for your sgACC. It's low, and now it's neutral. So neutral equals stable. You're not thinking about it like that. How just say my brain is stable. My brain is stable. It's like, the fuck you mean it's stable? My brain is stable. I don't even understand that. Stable. You're buffering. My sgACC is neutral, aka stable. You ain't got a somatic marker. You ain't got a frame of reference for that. You over here like, so you telling me we could be stable? As Lacey said, this is the missing piece, the half piece. We could have neural clarity. Every day. You ain't got to go to the spa. You don't need a massage. You can get those. I'm not telling you don't. Relax is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. But I am saying you can have neural clarity right where you're sitting. Be where your feet are. That's what they told us in Al-Anon. Stable. Foreign concept. Imagine if you walked in your house, you gone, and you come back, and everybody in the house magically is stable. Everybody's using their brain. You have a conversation and it ain't, why you ain't pick up I told you to take out the trash. Why you didn't? You get to work. Everybody doing their job, the one they're getting paid to do. Stable. Stable. Because you've self-selected to go from a survival mode brain to an excellent brain. One day at a time, one neural rep at a time. So metaphorically, the neutral brain is like this. A scale perfectly balanced. A light on yellow. Aware, but not reactive. A volume knob set at baseline. See that? Just set there. And a compass pointing to true north. Although that one ain't pointing to, yes it is, because it's doing that. Got it. True north. So neutral is not boring. Neutral is powerful. And the P in pink for my book, Real Leaders Wear Pink, it's a whole powerful section. A whole powerful section. Now, did I know this in 2008 and 9 when I was writing the book? No, but Steve Jobs said the dots will connect. Powerful. Powerful. Neutral is powerful. Matt thought he had me, but I'm neutral, baby. Matt fucked around and found out. He didn't understand the assignment, but the assigner of the assignment did understand the assignment. Neutral. Neutral. You got power in your neutral. I'm here the whole time. I can't get to my phone to text. I do understand. Got it, Lola. You're working. I understand, and thank you for the confirmation. So when the brain is neutral, the emotional baseline is steady. That's your go-to, your default. I'm steady. I'm neutral. Decisions are not survival driven. That means you are making high-functioning excellence decisions. They are not survival driven. Not even close. I'm just do this to just get to the end of my day. I'm just do this again. No. You looking at a future Nobel laureate right here, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. With an EDD from Nova Southeastern University, because I got pay dirt over here. I figured out how to use the everyday brain in everyday life under pressure in the adult brain. That's Nobel Prize worthy. Execution becomes clean. Everything you do is excellent because you don't do anything without a why or a strategy because you're neutral. And no one's borrowing your prefrontal cortex. No one's borrowing your Miss Brenda Jones. You are using your brain and your 86 billion neurons as you see fit every day, all day, throughout your day, even while you are asleep. In real leadership terms, neutral is the starting position for excellence. You starting at neutral and then you're going up. You're going to stay neutral in your sgACC, and then it's just excellent. Set and maintain high standards and go above and beyond. This is what you do. Be the best at everything that you do. Second mile service, according to the Ritz-Carlton. That's your daily. I'm a bad motherfucker daily. That's what I do. That's what my brain does. So you are not surviving. You ain't got no drama. You ain't got no urgency. You just got a regulated, high-functioning, neutral sgACC with a badass PFC. That's what you got because that's what you built. Because that's what you wired your brain to do. And finally, for today, here are your 2 questions. What did you learn today, and what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn today, and what did you learn about yourself? These two questions do several things. Number one, you are telling your brain, I expect to learn something every single day that I'm awake, alive, and conscious and cognitive in my right mind. Number two, you are saying, I self-reflect in my default mode network, which is the Neuro Rep for today at level 3. And so I'm looking to see what I'm learning about myself, because we don't spend, as an adult population, we don't spend enough time self-reflecting at a neutral level to maintain our excellence. If we are self-reflecting collectively as a global adult population, we are mentally beating ourselves up or comparing ourselves to people who are better than us or who we think we are better than. But at no point are we correcting for excellence. Are we reflecting and checking for excellence because of this low emotional baseline? So when you answer these two questions, you put ... first, a thinking emoji, a brain, or something, because you are training the brain to pause before it responds, to pause and think about what is being asked. That's a neural pathway that you create, and every day you answer these questions, you keep strengthening that neural pathway. What did I learn today? You don't go to sleep without having learned something today, and you don't go to sleep without having learned something about yourself. Every day in our household, we do a summarization of our day, of how it started, what we learned, is there anything that needs to be improved, any takeaways, and then we go to sleep. Summary of your day. So you're putting that in the hippocampus. This worked, this didn't work. I'm going to keep this up. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to start this. I'm going to continue this. And you are creating a high functioning brain wired for excellence and not survival. We needed that way back when we first got here. We don't need that as a continuous loop any longer. What did you learn today, and what did you learn about yourself today? Daisy, I learned today that the sgACC keeps me in neutral. When you wire it for neutral, yes ma'am. When you wire it for neutral, you stay neutral. That is the objective. Daisy is typing again. Lola, I know you're working. Denise and Nola, are you there? Okay, there's Denise's brain. You got two good ones this weekend, Denise. I know you were at work on the week during the week and you can't get to it, but you got a twofer. Lola, I learned that I need to continue to train my brain to stay neutral. That's the objective. Social conformity theory tells you no. That's boring. Calm is a problem. No, it's not. People ain't never went to the hospital for a calm attack. I'm having a calm attack. And it would look like this. I am so calm. I am so relaxed. I am at neutral. I think I need to go to the hospital. My blood pressure is low. It's in the normal metrics. I'm not sweating. My heart rate isn't beating. I can think straight. Man, I think I need to go to the hospital. I'm having a calm attack. You ain't never seen that. You're never going to see that. Why you got to go? That's how you end up needing medication. Nobody needs medication to stay calm when you got a stable sgACC. Nola said, I learned negativity bias has you focus on your sgACC, that low baseline. Daisy said, I learned about myself today that when I'm wired for neutral, I'm sane in neutral. I think you stay in neutral. Nola said, I learned about myself. I need to focus on being neutral all the time. All the time. Yes, ma'am. Neutral is the plug. Neutral is the new normal. Denise said, I learned today that neutral is the goal because it's stability and it creates neural clarity. Yes, ma'am. That is correct. Neutral is the business. And then you can go off and do extraordinary things. Because people have been telling me, oh, you got good time management skills. I'm like, nah. I got a neutral sgACC. That's how I'm able to do all this. There's no way. No way. No way if I did, it wouldn't happen. Obviously, I'm high functioning and I got an amazing PFC that I've strengthened as well. But that, because emotional damage will cause plenty of problems. You will not get to this point of neural clarity without it. And Denise has one more about yourself, and then we can get out of here and go do our thing. And again, as promised, by 8 o'clock, your Neuro Reps will be up for today. I recommend that you look at the Neuro Reps sooner than later today because you got some writing to do in your own words. Lacey said, today I learned about myself that the goal is neutral and stable. I can self-select peace and not the default of self-sabotage. This is absolutely astounding. Well, Lacey, you can start by going to Instagram and start your 7-day Neuro Rep, and you will astound yourself every day. Every day. Okay, go to Instagram and do your 7-day. I'm Turnaround Doctor on Instagram. Message me over there, and I will send you what you need to do. And Denise said, I learned about myself today that I've been operating from a low emotional baseline, but improving. I had a win at work. Dr. Donna, a co-worker, reached out to me and said they know. Hallelujah. Look at that. Look at that. And they said they noticed a difference. There you go. There's your external receipt that you just all of a sudden shows up. It's like something different about you. Okay, got it, Lacey. Something different about you. Denise, did you change your hair? You doing what's happening? Do you have a man? That's the first thing they say if you're a woman and you date men. Do you get you some last night? You all happy and shit? Look at you glowing. No, that's that real leader glow, baby. Hey, that's that neural clarity. Yes. That's that neural clarity. Neural clarity looks good on you. Look at you. Look at all them neurons just shining with your synaptic connections. Woo! Look at them neural pathways. Oh, that's awesome. I see your prefrontal cortex. I see your inhibition control. Look at you over there all executive functioning and stuff. Yes. Go ahead with your bad neuro self. Lola said, I used to say I'd rather stay on the job because I felt bad. I was in more peace and also calmer. Now that I understand more, it gets better at home. Thanks for the knowledge, Dr. Donna. My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm old and I gotta pee. And I'm having a hot flash, so I can come out this wig. So today was a great day. And it was because we closed out one of these things that has been basically had me mythologizing about what was actually taking place. But now I have the neuroscience to go along with the principles of real leadership to say you have the ability to be high functioning. You do. And here's another area of brain region that you can actually work towards to rewire it, recode it. I tried to go to your IG, but it's not letting me do the free trial. Maybe no. Go message me. You got to message me on there. I'm telling you what to do. Send me a message on Instagram so I can tell you what to do. Because somebody went and did it and did all 7 days in one day. I'm going to send you a message and tell you what to do. Okay? Just message me. And hopefully I haven't blocked you on there because I done blocked 3,200 people. So hopefully you weren't talking shit on Instagram. And now you got it. Now you got it. Because I will block your ass and you will never come back. Okay. So great day, great closeout to the ACC. And now we know what is underneath all of this emotion and how we have the ability to get to neutral. Neutral is not numb. Neutral is powerful, extremely. You got the power. Oh, it's sitting in my ACC. It's sitting in the ACC. Okay. My brain is 95% song lyrics. Thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen. I took this information in, and as always, I will use this information to get better because we deserve to be able to be high functioning and excellence in our day-to-day life. Survival is not it. High functioning is the shit. God willing, higher power in the universe. I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, safe space. Different Brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a brain-tastic day. Adios.